In the world of billionaires, money is no longer the goal. It is a tool. The ultimate prize is something far more valuable: certainty. Alistair Crowe, a brilliant, enigmatic, and deeply cynical former investigative journalist, understood this better than anyone. He had seen how the world's most powerful people were still just gambling, guessing, reacting to events. He knew that the ultimate luxury was not a yacht or a jet, but the ability to know with cold, hard certainty what was going to happen next week, next year, next decade. And he decided to build a business that sold exactly that.
His company, the Janus Group, was the most exclusive and secretive consulting firm in the world. It had only 10 clients. To become a client, you had to be a billionaire, and you had to be invited. Alistair did not sell insider information or illegal data. He sold something far more powerful: consequence analysis. His team of elite anonymous analysts and a proprietary AI would take a single proposed decision from a client, a merger, a political donation, a new product launch, and map its second, third, and fourth order consequences, predicting its ripple effect through the complex systems of the world with 95% accuracy. His product was a crystal ball, powered by data and game theory.
His client list was a secret society of the world's most powerful people: a reclusive tech visionary, a ruthless oil magnate, a king-making media mogul. One of these clients, a powerful old-money oil baron named Marcus Thorne, was planning a massive, hostile takeover of a promising green energy company, simply to dismantle it and eliminate a future competitor. He presented the plan to Alistair for analysis, expecting a simple confirmation of its financial viability. He saw it as a routine act of corporate warfare. A week later, Alistair delivered his report. It was a single, slim, black folder. The report confirmed that, in the short term, the takeover would be a massive financial success. But it also predicted, with chilling certainty, the long-term consequences. The destruction of the green energy company would create a vacuum, inspiring a young, unknown genius to create a far more disruptive technology. This would trigger a massive public backlash, a political shift, and, in 7 years' time, the complete and utter collapse of Thorne's entire fossil fuel empire. The report did not advise. It simply, coldly, laid out the inevitable chain of events. Marcus Thorne read the report. He saw the cold, hard logic, but he was a man built on ego, a titan who had spent his life bending the world to his will. The idea that his actions could lead to his own destruction was not just a prediction, it was an insult. He threw the report back at Alistair. "Your machine is broken, Crowe," he sneered. "I am the market. I am the storm. I will not be scared by the shadows of your imaginary boogeymen." He terminated his contract with the Janus Group, and a week later launched his hostile takeover, a public middle finger to Alistair's prophecy. Another of Alistair's clients, a young visionary tech billionaire named Kalen Vance, saw Thorne's move as an opportunity. His own analysis from the Janus Group had predicted that the collapse of the green energy company would create a massive power vacuum. Following Alistair's advice, Vance began a quiet, 7-year-long investment strategy. He didn't invest in energy itself. He invested in the periphery, the rare earth minerals, the battery technologies, the grid management software that would be essential for whoever eventually filled that vacuum. He was not betting on a single company. He was buying the entire ecosystem of the future. For 5 years, Thorne's decision seemed to be the right one. His empire grew, the green energy sector was in disarray, Alistair Crowe's reputation took a hit. The man who sold certainty had seemingly made a spectacular miscalculation. Alistair did not defend himself. He did not argue. He simply continued his work, quietly advising his remaining clients, watching the pieces of his grand 7-year prophecy slowly, invisibly click into place. He was playing a long game, a game whose timeline was beyond the comprehension of the quarterly report-obsessed world. Then, in year 6, the first domino fell, exactly as Alistair's report had predicted. A young, unknown physicist in a university lab, inspired by the martyrdom of the company Thorne had destroyed, published a paper on a new, hyper-efficient solar capture technology. The technology was brilliant, cheap, and, most importantly, open source. It was the disruptive genius Alistair's AI had foreseen. The spark had been lit. The open-source solar technology spread like wildfire. Within months, hundreds of startups, funded by a new wave of climate-conscious investors, began to produce the new, cheap, and powerful panels. It was a decentralized, global, and unstoppable revolution. Marcus Thorne, from his obsidian tower, watched with a growing sense of disbelief. He tried to fight back. He threw billions at his own, outdated solar research divisions. He used his political influence to lobby for new regulations, but it was like trying to stop a tsunami with a paper wall. He was no longer fighting a single company. He was fighting a global open-source movement. And then, the second half of Alistair's prophecy came to pass. Kalen Vance, the young tech billionaire, made his move. After 7 years of quiet preparation, he now controlled the entire supply chain for the new solar revolution. The mines, the factories, the software. He activated his ecosystem, offering the new startups unprecedented access to cheap materials and efficient production. He was not just funding the revolution, he was arming it. He was pouring gasoline on the fire that was consuming Thorne's empire. The end for Marcus Thorne came on the 7th anniversary of his victory. The price of oil, rendered obsolete by the new cheap energy, had collapsed. His company, once the most valuable in the world, was a hollow, debt-ridden shell. He was a king of a dead kingdom, a ruler of rust and dust. His board of directors, the same men who had cheered his aggressive takeover, now turned on him, forcing his resignation. He was a man out of time, a dinosaur watching the meteor he had summoned finally hit the earth. Alistair Crowe watched the news of Thorne's resignation from his quiet office. He felt no triumph, no satisfaction. It was not a victory. It was simply the inevitable, elegant, and predictable solution to a complex equation. He had not defeated Thorne. Thorne had defeated himself, exactly as the data had predicted. Alistair's work was done. The prophecy was fulfilled. The fall of Thorne's empire and the rise of the new, decentralized energy economy, all perfectly predicted years in advance, cemented Alistair Crowe's legend. He was no longer just a consultant. He was a myth, a kingmaker, the invisible hand that guided the future. His 10 client slots became the most coveted positions in the world, a ticket to a future free of uncertainty. He could have named any price, amassed more wealth than any of his clients. But he was not interested in becoming a king. He was interested in the architecture of the kingdom itself. He used his unprecedented influence to change the rules of the game. He began to choose his clients not based on their wealth, but on their potential for positive impact. He started a new pro bono branch of the Janus Group, dedicated to advising not corporations, but the governments of developing nations, helping them chart a course to a stable and prosperous future. He used his crystal ball not to amass personal wealth, but to preemptively solve the world's greatest problems: famines, refugee crises, economic collapses. He became a ghost in the machine of progress. A hospital was built in a developing nation because his analysis proved it would have a greater long-term impact than a new oil pipeline. A global conflict was averted because he secretly showed two opposing leaders a devastating, mutually assured economic destruction scenario that would result from their war. He never took the credit. His victories were invisible, his influence a secret. He was the quiet, unseen, and utterly rational force gently nudging a chaotic world towards a better version of itself.
Alistair Crowe had amassed more power than any king or emperor in history. Not the power to command armies, but the power to know, with certainty, the consequences of any action. He was the ultimate rational actor in a world of emotional gamblers, and his story became a profound lesson that true power is not the ability to force your will upon the world, but the wisdom to understand the world's will and to align yourself with the inevitable, elegant, and unstoppable current of the future.
His greatest client became humanity itself. He created the Janus Index, a public open-source version of his consequence analysis engine. It was a tool that allowed anyone to see the probable long-term consequences of major global policies, from a new carbon tax to a trade agreement. It was not a tool of prediction, but a tool of wisdom. It forced leaders and the public to stop thinking in terms of short-term gains and to start considering the deep, complex, and often unintended consequences of their actions. He had made long-term thinking a public utility.
And one of Callan Vance, the young tech billionaire who had followed his advice, he became one of the great philanthropists of the new age, using the vast fortune he had built to fund the very projects that Alistair's models identified as having the greatest positive impact. They formed a silent, perfect partnership, the seer and the builder, the architect of the future and the man who laid its foundations. One provided the map, the other commanded the resources to travel it.
Alistair Crowe became the ultimate paradox, the most powerful man in the world whose entire business was based on giving power away. He had mastered the game of cause and effect, and his final move was to teach the rules to everyone else. He was the ultimate cynic who became the ultimate idealist, the man who sold certainty and, in the end, gave the world a better chance at a future worth predicting. He taught us that the future is not a destination we arrive at, but a consequence of the choices we make today. He was the private scout who charted the treacherous paths ahead, not so that we could avoid the storm, but so that we could learn to navigate it with wisdom, with foresight, and with grace. He was the man who sold the future, and in doing so, he taught us all how to finally become its master.